let me invite and welcome the renowned guest in our today's 54th episode talk show, which is none other than Dr. TPS, Director Research Development, GFECER, former Deputy Directorate General of Security, Government of India, former ISRO scientist, which reminds me to congratulate all Indians for the successful Chandrayaan-3 safe landing on the moon. So, with this good news, let's bring on board Dr. TPS with a fresh topic on new aspects of holistic development. Now, ladies and gentlemen, holistic approach to development addresses and supports the individual's well-being holistically. This includes one's physical development in childhood, along with all other aspects such as intellectual, emotional, social, and aesthetic. So, let me invite Dr. TPS to break the ice on this coveted topic. So, a warm welcome and over to you, Dr. TPS.
Namaskaram and thank you Dr. Shelly Bisht for this invitation. And beyond literacy, under the big banner, so many events, we keep meeting on different activities. The early childhood education needs a real revamp. It needs a real revamp because the society is in big trouble. Every day when you look at newspaper, you will see a lot of very sad, bad news. Basically because the society is in unrest. If today this is the situation, what will happen after a few years when these young children become teenage and they become bap, mum and the elderly family members, what will happen? It becomes totally chaotic and unstable, and it's our responsibility to change the situation with deep thought. And it's a beautiful topic because it has got two aspects. One is holistic. The holistic is H and WH also. Both are holistic. The fullness is the wholeness, and holistic is the fullness as far as human being is concerned, because being holy is what is the fullness for a human being, a spiritual being. For the rest of the animals and plants, it is WHO, the whole. And the another adjective given is the new or the change, what is required. What is the new thing, what is to happen? Because everything whole is not whole from the starting to the end. As we grow, the development happens, my wholeness, my holiness also will change. What I think is good for me today is not what I think after some time. What I think in 21st century beginning, the first decade, is not what I think in the third decade of 21st century. So I keep saying everything has to change, and it has to change very fast in these days because things are changing too fast. Unacceptably fast for the earlier generation. That is why we are not able to cope up with the demands of the youngsters. And if we don't change, I am sure the young people will reject us very soon because they are running too fast. So I don't say 21st century. I keep redefining the word 21st itself. It is third decade of 21st century, which I call it as 3, 2, 1. So change what is required in the holistic development itself is 3, 2, 1. In terms of everything, physical, emotional, intellectual, social and spiritual. When we say physical, it has to look at all the paraphernalia around me. What is digital, in which the new generation took birth. And for me, in my childhood, it was not digital because I took birth in BC, before computers. The younger generation is in AD, after digital. So there is a lot of difference between the BC, before computer group, and the after digital group. So the change required is to be understood in this context. This is what I wanted to tell you as a introduction on the topic. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Great as the introduction, but if I talk about what is holistic development in early childhood? So
See,
you talked about social, emotional, physical, intellectual, and spiritual development. But close to this, I want to know from you that why is holistic development so important? Why do we talk about it?
yeah, the question of holistic development when it comes to a human being as an individual is from the conceiving time, that means from the womb to the tomb. That's a great path. Just today only I finished writing my book on um, the pregnancy time, the conceiving time, before the child see the world. How does the life impacts? See, if you listen to the normal prescription of the diet, the physical, emotional, and all that what the mother controls the development of the child in the womb. Maybe the mood in which they join together, the parents join together to put the sperm in the egg also matters. The time in which the conceiving, in which mood they conceive, have got lot of influence on the child. It is not after birth, it is not in the education, it is not when the child see the world. The first birth itself has to be in a good mood. The mood of everyone depends on the food what you eat. Therefore, the food what you eat on the day matters a great extent to the mood in which we react to situations. So we should go back to the Indian tradition where Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic food and how the behavior patterns changes. All that matters. So the Ayurveda, the basic Bharatiya system in which talks about the food what we consume. But if you go to an allopathic doctor today, they will ask you to take 1 egg per day minimum. Right? But you understand the egg today what you get is what is harmonized egg. It is not a normal chicken in the natural way laying an egg. The egg itself has been given by the chicken, where the growth of the chicken is impacted by injections, where they are machines produced eggs probably. It is not the normal growth. So assume a child or a mother who is in pregnancy consume that egg. What will happen to the hormone of the mother and how it is going to impact to the child and what impact will happen into the development of the child. All these are great concern. So your question of the early childhood, I don't even talk about early childhood. I don't even talk about the babyhood. I talk about the pregnancy time. How do you nurture the holistic development starting from the womb matters a great extent. If that child doesn't grow, anything what you do at a later extent is like giving no fertilizer to some tree which is already not grown or maybe grown in a wrong way. So it has to be at the root, in the seed, which has to be taken care of very carefully.
Great, great. But when we talk about, say, why it may be easy to default to focusing on a child's intellectual ability during the early years, so do you think it is equally important for a child to develop skills? For an example, if I say emotional intelligence, confidence, social ability, compassion, fine and gross motor coordination, responsibility, creativity, and many other such skills. Do you think that all these skills go hand in hand together?
Is there a noise coming? I'm getting some noise.
From my end, there is no noise. Shall I repeat my question?
No, I could get the question. I'm only getting disturbed because of some noise. It doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, it stopped. Now what happens is, it is the culture which determines. When I tell you, we know the world goes with the connectivity. If I am not connected to you through somebody, I will not develop. But how do you impact a child from the childhood, or maybe in the pregnancy? What is it happening today? They are aloof from the society. They are been admitted in hospitals. They walk very slowly. Their parents don't interact with them as they were not interacting earlier in the system. So the child also understands and gets a culture which is entirely different from. See, as a human being, we are human. As a social being, we are social. If these two characters are not in our culture, all that goes beyond the uncontrollable situation. So the culture, the social development, the cognitive development, the educational, numerical ability, the language skill, the communication skill, the spiritual values, the creativity, the aesthetic sense, the technology, all that what you say comes from what is called the quest. Your environment has got great impetus, great feeding to the child through the mother. So the mother should have the quality of asking a lot of questions, interacting with the people, mixing with the people. All that is lost today. We need a community living together like the old traditional homes. Every mother had not so much of panic because their mother is there, grandmother is there, they can interact, small problems can be discussed with them. Today, every problem is discussed inside a small cabin of a doctor who is an unknown entity to you, who just solves problems. Don't identify any solution based on the cause in which the problems are generated. See, you are giving the solution for the problems. That means you are only treating at the skin, but not the inner part. So any solution provided by doctor, that's what I'm saying. The doctor prescribes you an egg. The doctor doesn't understand where the egg comes from, whether the egg is produced naturally or not, right? And you talk about small problems which you may not even have thought about. See, everyone has got a DNA pattern. I have a DNA pattern. Somebody asked me how you can work like this for 20 hours per day. That is because my father was basically a farmer. So I have a DNA which I have, I got it from my parents. So my father gives me a strategy in which I can work in this world. If I don't understand that, any prescription given by the doctor will not work on me. The food pattern which we have. So though I finished writing the book on the Ayurvedic prescriptions on the pregnancy and the take care of the people who wanted to know this, nowhere I give a prescription of what is to be taken, because I will not prescribe it like a common platform in which a bottled medicine is given by a doctor to a patient. Ayurveda doesn't prescribe bottled medicines. They look at the patient, what is the condition, what is the age, what is their parambaryam, the heritage in which they comes from. Look at their face and understand from the skin what disease you have. I don't even have to touch. Looking at the skin, I will tell you what disease people have, right? Your respiratory problems can be seen from the skin. I am from an Ayurvedic family. So we know how to detect problems just by seeing the patient. Today, if you do a full scanning, you will not get such understanding, because it's the constitution of people which talks about how your digestion pattern. That is why Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the basic three category of people can be seen from the skin itself. You tell me today, is it happening? If it is not happening, if I give a prescription saying your problem is this is the medicine, like everybody can Google, and Google doctor becomes the best doctor, right? So this is not I am talking about. I am talking about a real holistic understand people each other, and this needs to be communicated to people very carefully. I am not blaming anybody. I am only saying the other day, a few months back, I went to one of the great ashrams under a great spiritual leader's name in Hyderabad, where the pregnant women were given the yoga practices. And young lady, probably she must not have even given birth to a child in her life, but she happens to be a yoga teacher, where she don't understand the basics of pregnancy. Dr. TPS doesn't understand the basics of pregnancy, but I've seen lot of people discussing, understanding, looking at as a doctor. So doctor need not to go through the disease to understand. Even that experience that yoga teacher doesn't have. She was giving instructions of yoga. The basic sitting posture itself is wrong. And that day on my YouTube I posted how to sit. How to sit in yoga. How to sit is most important. Asana means sitting. Yogasana means how to peacefully sit. Yogasana, when you practice, I have got a small book called Nitya Sloka, in which all the slokas what is to be chanted during the yoga also I mentioned, in which the yoga is not a physical exercise. It is for the yogena chittasya. It is for the emotional control. Understood? So if I cannot understand the person by emotion, I am not a yoga teacher. I must know whether you are comfortable or not. If you are not comfortable, you are not in Sukha Asana. Sukha Asana is what is exactly required for everybody. I must be able to sit peacefully. But our Yogasana, if you see, it is all like a monkey's task, right? Which is actually strenuous for anybody, especially for pregnant women. So there are basic things which is to be understood from the base, not a patch solution. This is what is creating problem. So when you give the word holistic, it has got a great meaning. Understand every small bit of sloka which you chant. Yogena chittasya padena vacha. I must be communicative. I must know how to communicate my problems. I must know get lot of information from somebody else. So the child should get, the mother should get. The mother is what is giving all this to the child. So pregnancy matters a lot. The upbringing matters a lot. So from the womb to the baby level to the early childhood up to age 3 to grade 3. This is what the grandma child care system which I am propagating now. Up to age 3 to grade 3 also you can make a child great. Rest of the world they will conquer. You don't require any guide. The other day I posted a Sanskrit sloka which says, even in darkness you have been taken to the first step of the staircase. First step of the staircase. The rest of the thing, even if it is dark, no light, any blind person also can climb, because the first step what gives you the step towards staircase. In life, the first step is pregnancy, the womb, the early childhood, the baby, and the early child care. If these three things can be strong,
Great.
I think rest, you know how to cycle your path. You don't require any guidance.
Yeah. So, Dr. TPS, you have already given us the 5 key areas of holistic development. Let's start from physical development, which is all about growing and developing motor skills.
Yeah.
So, as far as this is considered, the most important question comes that how to support the holistic development of a child. For an example, when we talk about physical development, it is basically to understand the physical milestone children will experience, like have a thorough knowledge of the importance of motor skills and how they are developed, engage in gross motor activities or big movements, and explore ways to climb, jump, swing, and run. Maybe take time to practice fine motor skills or small actions, like for an example, holding a crayon. This is how we teach a small baby. Molding, play-doh, digging in the sand, or playing with blocks. So these are the activities which the pre-primary teachers they normally do with the children, okay, for the physical development of the child. So do you think we can have some more aspect as far as this physical development of a child is considered?
Yeah, definitely what you said as the cognitive development and the physical development. the coordination of your indriyas. It is not the hand holding alone. It's like a big elephant can pick up a small needle to a big trunk. So all our indriyas have got an ability to mold, adapt to the situations, and the modern early childhood education is always in the classroom. Actually, in my childhood, I only remember teachers who come in the morning, but they don't teach anything. They allow us to play around. Right? We never learned up to age 3. Even the new education policy talks about up to grade 3. There should not be a textbook. There should not be a syllabus. But the teacher has to have lot of critical thinking ability, creativity, curiosity, growth, development, lot of art and craft. If you look at the whole world, the most famous personalities, the greatest scientists of the world, you can see all of them have used their hands in the childhood for some craft. Without having some craft ability with your hand, your cognitive power will not increase. The cognitive development, which is the intellectual growth, which is the acquisition of knowledge, which is the problem solving ability, which is the critical thinking ability, which is the creativity part of it. See, if I get a small box in which I have to put another pebble, based on the dimension of the pebble, only I can put one pebble in one box. The diameter of the box can vary very slightly different, which I can't understand. One mistake gives two wrong solutions, because a pebble which goes inside, I cannot take it. See, the child has to be so cunning and correct, wherein but once I take it very close to that, I must know exactly once I drop it, it goes inside. If the dimension ability I cannot measure, I may do 100 mistakes. You give this ability to a child from morning till evening, unless all the pebbles are go inside exactly with the diameter measurement, it can be a whole day activity. You leave liberty to a child, I'm sure by the end of the day the child will learn it. But today what we do is, in terms of activity, we want to fill and finish the syllabus. And we have to prove that the child is wrong and give 0 mark or 100 marks or 20 marks. Pass or fail. Is it what we are trying to make the cognitive development? It is, every child is from different parent. Every child is from different culture. Every child is from different social environmental situations. So my ability in the cognitive development also will vary. But we have same syllabus, same classroom, same teacher, same measurement, same scale for everybody. This is where the physical development has to change. My food pattern is different. My neighbor's food pattern is different. My holistic program has to be looked at, prescribed like the Ayurveda, which I said. I have to prescribe medicine based on the patient. My education should be based on the child, not based on my syllabus. So I don't believe a uniform approach for every child in the classroom. I can have multiple activities, multiple people doing multiple things based on their interest. Look at them gradually, see them. Oh, what is that extra which I can make them to do? How and why I can inspire somebody from looking at my elderly child, elderly brother, elderly sister. That is why separating them by age itself is a wrong thing. So I believe we should have age 3 to grade 3 single classroom, all the children doing different craft, taking help from elders and youngsters, mixing them together like in a festival when the parents, grandchildren come to their houses. How the family gathering will happen, the classroom should be like a large family. I'm sure teachers will enjoy, grandparents will enjoy, parents will enjoy, children will enjoy, sisters will enjoy, kids will enjoy. This is what is to be happen.
This is indeed the perfect example you have given, and it actually fits in. So we have discussed physical development at length. Similarly, I want to talk about the social skills, like how to build the social skills by connecting your child with other children and adults. As you said, whenever we go to the vacation, there are so many cousins, there are so many children who are accumulated at their grandparents' house. So practice actions like they may share, they may take turns in playing the games, they all can enjoy the meal together, or they all can go for an outing together. So this is how the social skills are developed. And similarly, we can even talk about the emotional development, because create awareness of others through books and stories. And I believe summer vacation or whenever the children are there, either at their grandparents' house, that is the best time wherein they can do the story reading. Okay, stories can be read, stories can be shared, and also by this they can learn empathy at home and in the community. So this is how the emotional development is there. And we can also talk about the children's emotional needs. As far as the intellectual development is considered, as we already spoke about the cognitive skills, learning at home during the free play, during the vacation, and everything. Even I believe the vocabulary enrichment can also be possible whenever they do all these things. But here, talking in example, if we had already discussed this, what all can you suggest for the spiritual development of the children? What all the family, what all the educators can do about keeping in concern with the spiritual development of a child?
Dr. Shelly, I partially agree with you and maybe majorly disagree with you, because you kept on talking about during the holiday when they go to parents, grandparents. All these are out of my bound, because every day should be a holiday for a young child. Actually, it is parents who are working who decides when the child can take a holiday. Otherwise, the teachers and the students should feel every day as a holiday. The social skill development cannot be separate from emotional development. The activities and the teamwork, communication, the conflict resolution, the building relationship, developing empathy, doing cooperation, emotional development in terms of understanding each other, sharing, caring, loving, the language and communication, which can be a mother tongue, which can be a father tongue, which can be a neighbor tongue, which can be a teacher tongue, which can be a friend's tongue. All that together, you can have a language, a multiple language. I'm not talking about a small village. You talk about a city like Bombay. I'm sure when you go to a classroom, you will see at least 10 different languages. I don't understand why in a month's time the teachers and the students can't learn at least 10 languages to communicate each other. If that effective communication is not happening, what are you talking about the multicultural, multilingual, blah, 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 and you go back to your home and then get stories? Every child has 101 best stories in their mind. Everything what they see around can be described. But do the teachers have time to give them time to share this? You only keep repeating in classrooms, keep quiet, keep quiet. If the teachers can stop telling this keep quiet and silence, I think the creativity and the artistic expression, the dramatic expression will come out. The value education and spiritual development is not something to be taught in classrooms. It is there in everybody's culture. Whichever you have taken birth in Bharat, in India, I am sure your gene contains and your ritual contains, the festival contains lot of messages. But somebody must be able to ask this question and explain it, irrespective of the religion. I am talking about the value education, which becomes the aspect of the specific religious stories, mindfulness, the character building, understanding what is the basic story behind all this. When you go to the root, you understand it's all spiritual development. But that need not be taught like the AICT. The chief comes in the engineering colleges also, they start teaching value development, and I remember giving classes for teachers. They don't understand what is it actually, because the syllabus is entirely different from Kashmir to Kerala and Gujarat to, the culture is entirely different. So you should only connect to the local festival, probably talk to the grandparents. That's why I'm saying the classroom, it's not during vacation meeting a grandparent. Every day there has to be a place where grandparents, the social workers, teachers, parents, and social worker. That's what TPS. I stands for Dr. TPS, where teachers, parents, students in the elderly age. But the young age, it is teachers, parents, and social workers. I must be able to share my culture, share my system, share my activities, which is in the religious practices, get lessons in the ethical, moral values. That becomes the spiritual development for children. Don't allow them, no, don't ask this question because I don't know the answer. If a teacher is asking not to ask questions, that means the teacher is the most foolish teacher. If the teacher is allowing the child to shout and ask questions, yes, discipline has to be taught, but there are many ways of doing it. That has to be most creative style of bringing up the child in curiosity, not physical. So the spiritual development is, you should have the ability to understand the logic. Yukti yuktam upadeyam vachanam balakadapi anyatranabhavatyajyam apyuktam brahmakadapi. The creativity growing, understanding the answer, and having my Saraswati on my tongue, Brahma in my curiosity. That is what is spirituality. If I can give this culture, I think the world around them will become the most spiritual world. Not the fake spirituality which today people are practicing. And if you try to give this lesson, the next fake will become too fake. Understood? So we have a religious captured spirituality. The religious captured spirituality, which is not at all correct. I don't remember in my childhood being told my parents that I am a Hindu, my ritual is this. We have Charvaka, who is considered as the most critical person who criticized the ritualistic practices in Hinduism. He was also given as a Rishi Padavi. Rishi Padavi is the greatest position which can be given. Criticism is not considered as a wrong thing. Criticism is to ask questions, understand, logically explain things. I think that tolerance is lost today. If you don't give the tolerance to the young children, I am sure India is going to be the worst place in the world in few years to come. Religious tolerance is lost. The spirituality has been put into the religious package. It needs to be questioned by teachers. And only people like Dr. Shelly, people like who are teaching in the early childhood education can change. That is the basic reason I involved from the highest educational platform to probably the, I don't say the lowest, the early age childhood education, which is my most concentrated pattern of life today. I am investing a lot of time for this purpose.
You here with us, but as my experience is considered, especially the children of metros, I'm talking about the metropolitan cities wherein the parents are working and the children are staying in nuclear family. They actually yearn for the summer break. Why? Because summer vacation is the only time wherein they need an opportunity to meet, go to their grandparents' house, meet with all their cousins, because everybody is, preoccupied in their mechanistic, materialistic world in a metropolitan city. So this is how, I was giving that example related to only the metropolitan cities, but otherwise the children who are putting up in a joint family, with so much of crowd with their cousins, so they are fortunate. But yes, many of the children of the metros are deprived for this. So you spoke about the
Dr. Shelly, I am also in Hyderabad, which is a metro city. I lived in Delhi.
Yeah.
I know the pulse of the metro cities. My children were educated here. This is where your academics, school environment should become like a homely activity.
Yes.
That is what I am suggesting. Because your school activity is like a jail, soft jail. I call it as a soft jail. They look for holidays. I think your children should tell that I don't want holidays, I want to go to my school. If some few people have got courage, I will show how it can be done in a month's time. Your children will love the school, your children will love the environment, but But what is expected in a school today is what is realistic has got a lot of gap. Coolly, if everyone, even in a metro city, the father, mother, the grandfather, the grandmother, the child, whoever sits and write down, this is what I expect in a early childhood education. Not a classroom, not a belt, not a shoes, not a bag, not a uniform, not a desk and bench. You write down what is expected. I will tell you all these will be out. They will be with no strings around with the identity card. We are making them like a stupid individual than a citizen in a world where they have a social life. This is where I wanted to change. Yeah.
I really like the statement which you have used, that each day of the school should be a holiday for them.
Yeah.
That means we should talk about the happy classrooms. We should talk about that a child should be happy to visit the school. And you just mentioned about the activities, So why not we discuss about the holistic activity, like how to plan the activities for a holistic viewpoint. Maybe this may seem challenging at first, but can we discuss few activities which we can implement for the holistic activity? For an example, to go for a picnic, field trip, taking the children to a dentist, to a mall, to a garden for a nature walk, something or the other, or a family picnic is also an opportunity to include social and emotional development while organizing, or any other thing which could actually help the children to develop their gross motor development. And a day of interacting with family, I believe that is a great social emotional activity. Going outdoors, connecting with the nature, exploring nature, and talking about the environment, and also teaching the children not to litter. That is also something good which we can talk about, because I believe teaching in the class and teaching outside activities do not foster holistic learning. So, can we all discuss that activities that are restrictive or sedentary, and they are not going to allow for holistic development?
Actually, Dr.
Or
Shelly,
anything which is hurtful?
again the discussion comes. You are telling that no, there is an indoor class, taking them once in a while out. I am not talking about it at all. I said the whole classroom is in a different environment where children don't feel that they are inside a cabin, inside a classroom.
Yeah, so that is what we
Yeah,
are talking about. Let's
that
discuss
is
the
what the environment which we can create. See,
yeah.
my classroom has to be every day dynamically changing. It may look like a metro station one day, next day it could be a railway station, it could be a no. See, I have to be little creative. I have to be little creative every day that when the child comes, my theme of the class itself keep changing. Why are you putting them into different class with the same teacher, same stupid face, which is so ugly every day? I need to have difference. Every child likes not to have the same tiffin every day. I need to add some different color. I need my plate to be in a rainbow. My food is rainbow. My classroom is rainbow. I am seeing the nature in my classroom, which need not to be taking them to a metro. I can recreate that. It's so simple and easy in the digital world. The augmented reality, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the internet of things. I don't have to even go to an aquarium to see a fish. I can touch and feel. See, I am saying the holistic in the most digital world. If I can go to a cinema theater, I can go to a planetarium to see the whole world. The Milky Way galaxy, I am not going to the Milky Way galaxy. I am experiencing the Milky Way galaxy. Understood? It's not highly expensive, but I need to have courage. One. Second one, my philosophy has to change. Keep on using the same teachers, the same style. Once in a while I take them. No, I am not talking about once in a while going to home, meeting the grandparents. I am not talking about once in a while going to a mall and showing the mall. I am creating that everyday activity. It is a surprise for every child, every teacher, the whole school. I'll tell you, it will become a marvelous different style of learning practice. It depends. Am I right? Am I running a nursery class, or am I running a higher secondary school, I will use what you have around you to make the difference. So there is no single prescription. I have only a handbook which becomes a guide for people. Based on your situation, you will implement it in your place. And that what is implemented in Calcutta cannot be implemented in Delhi. Your situation is different. Your environment is different. Your paraphernalia is different. That is why we want a model. Model is what doesn't replicate many places. So if somebody is courage enough to make this happen in one place, I will show that it happens in that place. But I am sure if you are not very creative, understand the philosophy next place, you will not be able to. Let us go to 5-10 different places, implement this and then show to the world. And it is not to copy this 10 item to 100 places. It is to give them the idea of how to be creative. That is why I am saying my son is different, my father is different, my mother is different, my child is different, my food pattern is different, my DNA is pattern is different, my economics is different, my income is different, my culture is different, my language is different, my classroom has to be different. Take it along in that line, create my own world around me. With the, I understand it cannot be a unless the teachers are so creative. So we want a team of young teachers who are entrepreneurship, who has got a digital spirit in their life. They want to make money and start this as a great business. They want to promote not the big gigantic schools in which a corner is given for nursery class. You have a gigantic school in the close, open up the whole, whole campus for your children. One day I may go and disturb 9th class. Another day I may go and disturb the 12th class. Do you have the courage as a principal, as a management to implement this? I will tell you, my children will ask such curious questions. The 9th class boy and girl will think, oh, I am not able to ask these wonderful questions. Let me also learn with the LKG children, right? They have the Didi there, the Dada there, the parents there, the grandfather there. And we have to make this culture entirely different. So it's highly creative. It's not that I can tell this on a webinar. No, we have to implement this on the ground and show that. That is what
I believe this is the need of the hour for our pre-primary educators to be very creative, to be very innovative, to bring everything in the class. For an example, this is what we talk about beyond text, beyond classrooms. Because every day, every single day, it's not possible for us to take the children for the field visit. So why not to create the things here as you suggested? One day they are coming and they are entering into a metro station. Second day they are coming, they are entering into a mother dairy. Third day they are coming, they are entering into a dolls museum. Fourth day they are coming, they are entering into a biscuit factory. So this is how the teacher has to plan her lesson plan in advance, that what is she gonna do the next day, how to pep up the children, how to boost the children, how to encourage the children, and how to bring the child back to school. As you said, that each day should be a holiday for a child when the child comes to the school. So this is all about the happy classroom. This is all about the things. But the big question comes over here: the need for us to educate our pre-primary educators by giving them the proper training, by giving them the proper curriculum and everything. Because let's not talk about the rote learning. Let's talk about implementing all these things in the class to make the class live, to make all the classroom the happy classroom. I believe you have come up with wonderful suggestions, wonderful examples, and I believe whoever the primary educators who are listening us across the world will be taking up your suggestions and will be taking up to their classrooms. So make their classroom a happy classroom. So I am really thrilled by the suggestions which you have given, by the examples you have given, and the insights which you have given to this wonderful topic of new aspects of holistic development, because you have tried to cover each and everything. But before we go further, I would request that please show the audience the book of parenting which you have written, because we will be launching it here on our 54th episode of Beyond Literacy. So ladies and gentlemen, let's launch the book Parenting, written by Dr. TPS. So this is a book, I believe it is coming clearly on the frame, beginning with, yes, parenting with Ayurveda,
Yeah.
nurturing life holistically. So this is something good because let's not forget our culture, let's not forget our roots. We are Indians, and whenever we talk about Ayurveda, it is closely rooted to Indian culture. So I would request that everyone should go through this book, and there will be wonderful insights which you can learn from this book. And I am really indebted to Dr. TPS because he has already given us two books. uh, okay, and yes,
Four
four
books.
books, four books,
Four
and
books are
I
which are
believe,
handbooks which will be used in our Delhi workshop, which is going to happen in 18 days from today on 22nd, 23rd, 24th, right? 23rd, 24th.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. So we will be having a discussion. We'll have a conference there with Dr. TPS, and he will be telling us all about inside whatever is there in the book. But
It's
we are
going to be
desperate to
it's
be
going to be a
present
workshop.
in the workshop.
It's going to be a workshop using the handbook.
Yes, yes. So we would love to attend that workshop and to learn from you. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is a fruitful session. You must have learned a lot from Dr. TPS. And sir, this is, rather an opportunity to call you again in this forum because there is so much to learn from you. You are a seasoned educationist, a researcher, a scientist, and I believe from your own personal experiences and examples, from your own stories and own examples, there is so much which you can give to the society, which you can give to all the early educators. And I believe that we will often look after and look forward for a new session with you.
Thank
So,
you,
Dr.
Dr. Shelly,
TPS,
and I must thank Masuda, my sister, for making this
yeah,
connection and making this contact. And then I think her uh, thirst for learning and spirit of leadership is what makes things happen. And then
yes,
we look forward to meet people. Probably whoever wants to join should connect to Dr. Shelly and Masuda for enrolling for the Delhi program. So if you have a good group, I'm sure we will identify
yes.
the philosophy in which we must go forward for the programs ahead. Thank you. Thank you for
So
hosting
not
me and
only
so
for
kind of you.
the yeah, upcoming workshop, but we are looking forward for the international conference also, which is there on 14th and 15th October. And I would love all the audience who are watching us to kindly follow our Facebook page and to get themselves registered. And we will have a fruitful learning over there also. So, with gratitude, I thank Dr.
Thank you.
TPS for his wonderful session. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. God bless you. Enjoy.